Afternoon, everyone. Thank you for staying on. I'm very privileged to be the last speaker for today. I'm Tang Wee. Today, the title of my talk is going to be on symbolism in gendered STEM artifacts. The gender equality is the fifth goal in the 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. To quote the United Nations, and I hope I remember this correctly, is that gender equality is not only a foundation, an important foundation to human rights, but a necessary. Okay, let me requote this. So, gender equality is not only fundamental to human rights, but a necessary foundation to a peaceful, prosperous, and sustainable world. Okay, I've got it right. Over the past few decades, there has been progress in terms of gender equality, with more girls going to schools, more women taking on leadership positions, as well as there were reforms in laws to promote gender equality. However, we still continue to see these kinds of trends where there continues to be the underrepresentation of women and girls across all levels of STEM education, from schools to universities, as well as in STEM careers. And even little children are consciously or subconsciously aware of such gender disparities. This is a photo of a letter from a 7-year-old girl to a big toy company expressing her concerns about the lack of female representation in the figurines, the toy figurines that she was playing with. She was aware that there were more male or boy figurines, and furthermore, the portrayal of women in these figurines tend to take on less adventurous roles than the male figurines. So this is something very interesting to me because symbolism is basically the representation of ideas in alternative forms. And symbolic meanings can be attributed to not only in physical objects, but also in abstract forms. It tells the girls and sends messages, insidious messages, telling girls what you can or cannot do, should or should not do. Now, gendered messages are also hidden in advertisements, which are used as campaigns. I think some of you, okay. So some of you may know about this particular video that was used as a campaign to persuade more girls to enter science fields. So I'm going to play this video. It's about 1 minute long. It's pretty fast to let you have a sense of what this video is about. Okay, as you can see, let me just bring back this video here, this slide here. As you can see, gender is color-coded, right? It's very obvious. When the girls appear, the background is pink. When the guy appears, the background is blue. And the guy is always portrayed to be looking intently into the microscope and he's always, looking, very serious and doing something very important. But the girls were on a runway, right? So this is actually a very interesting video that was used for a campaign, but it turned out to be, severely criticized for gender stereotyping. So I want to bring up this maxim, which I think a lot of you will be very familiar with and would have heard of, is do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Now, I'd like to flip this around in saying, don't do unto yourself as you would not have done unto others. Why do I say this? It's because gendered messages are also embedded in the language that we often use ourselves and even on ourselves. So the leaky pipeline, I'm sure a lot of you would have heard of the leaky pipeline metaphor. It has been used broadly on many platforms. Many people have used it in their speech, even by people who advocate for gender equality and equity. But let me ask you this question. Do you think that this is an appropriate metaphor to describe this phenomena of women leaving the STEM career and education pathways? No, I see one lady here shaking her head. Now, personally, if you ask me, I also say no, it is not appropriate. Now, think a little bit harder. What it basically means, or could imply, is that there is a problem to be fixed. Not only does the pipeline needs to be fixed, but the people who left the system needs to be fixed. The second point, that basically in a leaking system, there is no self-control. The person just leaves. And if you think in terms of a pipeline, usually the flow of water is unidirectional. The water doesn't flow back, right? There must be something wrong with the pipeline. And this basically implies that if a woman leaves the system, out she goes. There's no return. And also, that when she leaves in the leaky system, she leaves quietly. And hence, the woman is invisible. Not invincible, but invisible. I wish she is invincible. So, now I think moving back to this, I want to say that my bottom line here is that if we are really committed to promoting and advocating for gender equity or equality, not only must we be concerned about the strategies or the approaches or the opportunities that we give out to women or girls to participate in STEM, but it must start from ourselves and how we treat ourselves, to be critically conscious of the words that we use to describe the phenomena or to describe ourselves and our work. So to start from within, and then before we talk about these approaches, we need to be critically conscious of how these insidious messages are embedded and manifest itself through the gendered artifacts. So that is actually my bottom line. And as a faculty in the university and an equity STEM scholar, I feel that I have the responsibility to contribute to gender equity, especially in the area of STEM education. And hence, I would also like to share that the center, my meriSTEM Center, at which I'm co-heading, we are very fortunate to have been awarded the Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation grant last year to carry out a project that not only addresses the human capacity building, but also to specifically address the gender equality in STEM. And so we are going to be meeting next year in March, where all the nominated representatives of the ministries and the universities in the APAC economies, we're going to be meeting and we'll be discussing about a possible model for university degree programs that will further this agenda at the higher education level. So thank you very much.